Ethan and Mark were the best of friends. They lived in the same small town and had known each other since childhood. Their bond was strong, built on shared laughter, adventures, and a deep understanding of each other. They were different in one significant way, however. Ethan was a devout Christian, his faith a guiding force in his life. Mark, on the other hand, was a man of science and logic. He believed in what he could see and touch, what could be proven by reason. Despite their differences, their friendship thrived. They respected each other's views and never let their differing beliefs come between them. Their conversations often veered towards philosophy and the meaning of life. Ethan would talk about the love of God and the promise of salvation. Mark would counter with theories of the universe and the wonders of the natural world. These discussions, though lively, always ended with a sense of mutual respect and understanding. They agreed to disagree, their friendship stronger than their differences. They often spent their weekends together, engaging in shared hobbies like fishing or hiking. Their families were close too. Ethan's son, Jacob, a bright and imaginative 8-year-old, adored Mark. He saw him as a cool uncle, always ready with a joke or a fascinating story about science. Their bond was special, a testament to the warmth and acceptance that defined their family's friendship. Life was good, their bond a source of comfort and joy in a world that often felt chaotic and unpredictable. One Saturday evening, Ethan, Mark and their families gathered at Ethan's house for their traditional barbecue night. The air was filled with the smell of grilling meat, laughter and the happy chatter of children playing. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the yard, the adults settled into comfortable chairs, sipping cold drinks and enjoying the warm summer breeze. Jacob, his face still sticky from watermelon, sat on the porch steps, listening intently to Mark tell him about the constellations. Later that night, after Mark had left and the house was quiet, Jacob went to bed. He drifted off to sleep, his mind filled with images of stars and planets. But his sleep was not peaceful. A vivid dream invaded his slumber, a dream so real it made his heart pound in his chest. In the dream, he saw Mark walking down a dark and lonely path. The air around Mark was thick with smoke, and flames seemed to lick at his heels. Strange creatures with glowing eyes lurked in the shadows, their forms shifting and changing. Jacob saw fear etched on Mark's face, a look of confusion and despair. Jacob called out to Mark in his dream, wanting to help, but his voice wouldn't work. Mark turned towards him, his eyes wide with a desperate plea. "Why didn't Ethan tell me?" he whispered, his voice raspy and filled with urgency. "Why didn't he tell me?" Jacob woke up with a start, his heart racing, his pajamas damp with sweat. The dream was so real, so vivid that he could still feel the heat of the flames and hear the echo of Mark's desperate question. Tears streamed down Jacob's face as he scrambled out of bed and ran to his parents' room. He burst through the door, his small body trembling with fear and confusion. Ethan, awakened by his son's cries, sat up in bed, his arm instinctively reaching out to pull Jacob close. "Daddy, I had a bad dream," Jacob sobbed, burying his face in his father's chest. It was about Mark. Ethan's wife, Sarah, her eyes filled with concern, gently stroked Jacob's hair as he recounted the details of his dream, his voice shaky and filled with emotion. Ethan listened intently, his heart sinking as he heard Jacob's description of Mark's fear and isolation. He knew that dreams could be powerful things, reflections of our deepest fears and desires. But this dream felt different. It felt like a sign, a message urging him to take action. He couldn't shake off the image of Mark's terrified face, his desperate question echoing in his ears. Why didn't Ethan tell me? What was it that Mark needed to know? Ethan held Jacob close, comforting him and assuring him that everything would be all right. When Jacob finally calmed down and drifted back to sleep, Ethan lay awake, his mind racing. The dream had shaken him to his core. He couldn't ignore it. It felt like a call to action, a divine nudge urging him to share his faith with his friend. He knew he had to talk to Mark, to tell him about the hope and salvation that he had found in his relationship with God.